What in the world is going on? It has been insanely cold in the south. A rover has landed on Mars, and United Airlines lost an engine mid-flight. But don't worry, there's good news. Spring training has started. There's some football news. And hey, now you can book that vacation cruise. I am B Love, reporting also for Duty the Pooh Bear and the Chief. I know you have waited all week for this next statement, and here it is. This is the main event. And you know it's going to blow sports week when we lead with this.
When we lead with space.
Did anybody get a NASCAR nap in today? I don't even think NASCAR ran today.
I do not know if it ran today, but I did not get a nap either. So
I couldn't tell you.
All right. So, wow, pretty cool. After years and years and years of virtually no space program in this country, they're starting to do a lot of pretty cool stuff.
Right?
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about this, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm really excited about it, because I feel that if we can put a rover on Mars and it does this elevator thing down and drops the buggy off with a helicopter attached to it, that we are just honestly weeks away from being able to open my garage door without having to be like 10 feet from it. Are you guys like me? Like I pull down the street and I start hitting the button. I'm like, come on. And you're just waiting for that day when it actually clicks and you're still like a house away, so you don't have to do that pause at the end of your driveway before you can pull in.
That's the of all the technology anybody could ask for. That's the thing that you want.
I'm just saying, I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not asking for gold. They want to give it to me. It's great, but I'm just saying, let's start small.
Well, listen, we need to start small with you because technology isn't exactly good to you.
Oh my gosh, but man, we're late tonight because of me. Well, so
I hate to tell you, Chief, that technology is already out there, and you actually have all the equipment you need to do that already. But let's not go down that slope.
Oh, you got that right.
It's not going to end pretty.
Hey, hold on. So I had to get we're talking about technology real quick. I had to get a new router this week because my old router failed. And the guy is talking to me and he goes, hey man, look, don't worry. We're going to fix this up for you. We're going to make it the same SSID, LMNOP stuff, and I'm like, and I said to him, I said, I got to tell you the truth, man. I hear every word that you're saying, but I have no idea what it means. And he's like,
it means
I'm going to help you out.
It means you're not going to have to change the password on your garage door opener. Is what it means. That's what it means. It means it's going to maintain all that information for you.
Oh man.
So I was just amazed at the images coming back already.
Oh yeah,
like it took
seriously high res,
right? And it took 8 months to get out there.
7,
and the pictures are coming back, essentially within an hour or so. And they're getting audio, they're getting the things going up, and it's scanning around, listening for the noises, and you can hear, which is eerie, right? Because there's nothing there, right? There's an atmosphere
that we know of.
Yes, right. But when it's spinning around listening, you can hear this kind of vibration, wind noise. It's just creepy. It's weird.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. But one of the questions, and I know cool. They're gearing up for like a mission, like a legit, Mark Watney mission to Mars.
Right.
You know, which if you haven't seen that movie, it's a pretty great movie.
The Martian.
The Martian, right? But it actually makes me wonder, like, why have we never gone back to the moon?
I don't know.
It's the same reason why we haven't. I can tell you why, because there's nothing there. There's a bunch of rocks.
That's all I could think of. Was just nothing there. They know we're not going to be able to live on it. We've got all the samples we could ever use. It's not going to tell us much about anything else. So let me ask you guys this: would you guys go to Mars if it was given the opportunity?
No, dude, I saw what happened to Matt Damon. I saw what happened to Matt Damon when he got there. He got left behind, and then he had to eat potatoes and other people's growing other people's crap, and it doesn't look like a good time. He came out of that place. You know what I would go for? He lost a few pounds while he was there, man.
You think?
So, yeah, he lost
excellent diet plan,
dude. But he almost blew himself up too, trying to make rain. So
right.
Well,
so
he almost blew himself up a couple times.
It would certainly take about a year of travel just to get there, right? So
just there and back is over a year, and that doesn't even count the time. My thing is, if you're going to spend 6.5 months getting there, like, we're going to stay longer than a couple days.
That's my point. So you're committed to the long haul here. You're going to go for a while. It's kind of like when, I've always said, if I ever get to travel to Europe, I'm going to go for 2 weeks to a month to make it worth it, right? I'm not going to fly an airplane for 12, 13 hours just to stay for a couple of days. But same kind of principle applies to me. I'm not going to travel on a rocket all the way out there. It's going to have to be for a couple of years, you would think. So, so at that point, what do you do? I mean, there's no casino on Mars.
Dude, do you know has anyone looked at the mission for this thing? What they're doing? I looked it up. I'm on NASA's website, but y'all know what they're actually doing up there?
Not a clue. I'm half-hearted thinking that's the reason they put the car on the Mars was to see if they could do it.
Well, I think you're not wrong on that, but the thing is, they're looking for a couple of things. Number one, they're looking for the ancient signs of life. I don't think they're going to find anything. It's a rock, and the other thing is, they're trying to figure out, how much oxygen is there. They got these, I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, they have some device that they're trying to figure out how they can make oxygen while they're up there. I mean, they're places you don't meant to go. You just don't go there. It's not meant for us. No, I'm not going to Mars. I'm not going to go to Mars for years.
Chief, I don't know that I like that attitude. I think that there's a lot of, we weren't ever supposed to breathe underwater either, and we figured out a way to do that with scuba. You weren't supposed to climb Mount Everest, but we figured out a way to do that. Like, we went to space to begin with. We weren't there. You're saying there's some places we're not supposed to go. Every person who ever said that found a way to get there.
It's not getting there. That's the thing. I mean, if you want to do it, okay. Kennedy said, we choose to go to the moon because it's hard, because it's hard. Something like that. He said, it's hard. Okay, so
things that man wasn't meant to do.
Yeah, we did it. Okay, great. If we're going to Mars because it's hard, okay, we're going to learn how to do something new. But I mean, I'm not going to go there for a year to hang out on a planet to do nothing, man. I don't know.
Well,
but I think there's plenty of people out there who want to be that type of explorer, who are willing to make those sacrifices to do it.
And I think we need to support those people when they do these kinds of crazy things, because it leads to other things. Like, Wilbur and Orville Wright were deemed as crazy, but yet we now love it because of the convenience of air travel.
And don't tell that to the guys on United Flight, dude. I mean, we're going to get to that one later, but don't say spoiler alert. Sorry. A spoiler alert there, but if they find out that there's lithium, like there's a big mountain of lithium on Mars, we'll be there next week. We will find a way to go get it and bring it back.
I think that there will be some exploration. You never know what you're going to discover there that could lead to innovation that we can use back here.
There could be a cave full of Bitcoins.
Okay.
That's 60 grand a pop.
All right.
Oh man! Wow!
Or if it's Dogecoin, I'll be wealthier than anybody.
Please tell me you're not into that.
Oh, I have several hundred
Oh.
shares of Dogecoin.
I knew Pooh Bear's into it, man. He's definitely in. So
I have plenty of Bitcoin as well, just not a full share yet.
he's got bits of a Bitcoin. Oh
Right.
my gosh.
Oh man.
Hey, they're going to fly a helicopter around though too. They got this, helicopter they're going to fly, which is, I'm going to say that is pretty impressive because Mars' atmosphere is significantly less dense than ours, and you got to think of a helicopter blade like a propeller on a boat. It's got to bite into something, and if it's too thin, that's why helicopters can't fly to like Mount Everest, to the top of Everest. It's too thin. So, the fact that they were able to make one light enough and to get it up there and they're flying it around, the whole thing I find absolutely fascinating. They're actually able to do this from remote control. I think it takes 11 minutes to get a message to Mars, electronically. It takes another 11 minutes for it to come back, something like that. So, we're talking, 22 minutes, from the time the guy tells it, hey, turn left, and then it, goes up there and comes back and he's like, oh, I mean, right. So.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting. What, dude, how do you train for something like that?
I don't know, but I guarantee you, if there's a tree, if there were trees on Mars, that helicopter would be in the top of it. Because
would find one. Yeah,
every kid in the neighborhood that's ever had a drone has been in the top of the tree in my front yard. So,
oh my gosh.
So listen, I totally off topic, but where do you fall in? Are you one of those who believes that we actually went to the moon, or that it is a hoax?
Oh, we went to the moon. We absolutely went to the moon. Yeah.
Had to. There was too many people involved, and it's been too long for if it was some sort of conspiracy, it would have come out and been front page news.
Look, if we didn't go to the moon, the Russians would be blasting us with it, and then of course the East Berlin Germans, back in the Cold War, they would have been blasting us with it. The Chinese, again, they would have been like, you guys are idiots. You guys never went, but they haven't done it yet. And pretty soon, we probably actually can look up there with some sort of high-powered telescope that I don't have, and actually see those buggies that are still sitting on the surface.
There, you can't see the flag. I've heard people talk about they can see the flag, but just think about it. There's too many people involved. I can't even get my two daughters to conspire in a way against, to keep a secret from my wife about what we're getting for Christmas. You know what I mean? There's no way you're going to have that many people involved in hiding the fact that we didn't land on the moon. And somebody didn't talk.
Keep that big of a secret.
Right.
Dude, it always amazes me every time they strap a human to one of these rockets. It's like, have you ever been to a rodeo?
Oh yeah.
Like who was the first guy who was like, hey, let's see if we can ride this bull?
He was drunk, I guarantee it. He was
and then you contrast that to, hey, let's strap a couple of people to this rocket.
Wait, back to the bull, though. First of all, there was some drinking involved, and I guarantee you there was a girl they were trying to impress.
Yep. Or a bet was made.
Yeah, and it's probably the same thing with the rocket.
Hey, hey, man, I bet you can't jump on the back of that thing and ride it around a couple of minutes. Oh, yeah, hold my beer.
Yeah, like who was the first guy who was like, hey, let's try jumping on that bull. Let's see what happens when you get on that bull.
That's exactly how it happened.
That's just crazy. But yeah, you strap a couple of guys to a rocket. A lot can go wrong there. And it's just amazing to me. And I know it's not completely safe, but how safe space travel actually kind of is.
Right. Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of tragedies and we've lost a lot of Americans in space exploration, but for the most part, they're pretty successful on a pretty regular basis with that stuff. And now they're building these rockets that can like come back and be reused again. I mean, that's just insane.
That's old
the
Elon.
Technology involved in this stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, switching gears. Man, aren't you glad we live in Florida?
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. That's why I chose to be born here.
I think I read someplace. I chose to be born here. I read someplace that over half of the country, the landmass of the country, saw single-digit temperatures last week.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy. I was talking to a guy on Tuesday. Maybe it was Wednesday. Okay, one of those days. And his family is in Ohio. And do you know what they were doing to stay warm? They were hanging blankets on the walls of a room. They were all in one room of their house, and they were hanging blankets on the walls, trying to like beef up the insulation, I guess, and then trying to stay warm in that one room. And listen to this, Ohio. I think it gets cold in Ohio on a regular basis, so they're kind of ready for it. Unlike Texas and Louisiana. So if those guys are struggling, I guarantee you, the guys in the South that weren't ready for it are really in trouble.
Oh man, I think Texas probably took this thing the hardest. Just because they're not, it'd be like it's snowing here, I guess. And I don't know if you guys remember, Chiefy, I don't know if you were even living here, but Pooh Bear, maybe you do. Like in the early 80s, we had a Christmas one year that was so cold we were having rolling blackouts. Do you remember that?
That was actually 1990. I remember it vividly.
Was it 1990? No.
1990. Yeah, the summer or the Christmas of 89, just about to be 1990. We did. I lost my hamster. That's how I know.
I was with the volunteer fire department then, and we ran a fire on either Christmas morning. I think it was Christmas morning or Christmas Eve morning. Anyway, and it's the only time that I've ever had icicles hanging off my helmet.
Bro, I was here in 77 when it snowed that year.
Like when icicles from you fighting the fire and
like on this.
Yeah, so like after you get the mist gets on your helmet, and it's freaking cold outside, and an hour or so later you've got ice on your helmet, a thin layer of ice. Yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Yeah, we were actually traveling. My family obviously I was a teenager at this point, so I was traveling with my mom and dad and my two sisters. We were in, I think it was in Georgia. We went to a camp, state park or something up there, and we decided to leave early because we knew there was an ice storm. And Georgia was prepared because they had, snow plows, and I guess they had salt or something. So I-75 coming down was flawless until you got to Valdosta. As soon as you cross the state line, ice. Trucks are all in the roads or in the ditches. There's cars in the ditches. We stopped in, I think it was Lake City, and it was just completely slam packed with people that just were getting off the road. They couldn't handle it anymore. But we got home, and like you said, rolling brownouts. They were turning off power to some places. We ended up staying with my great grandmother because her home, being that she was elderly, they were giving them heat or giving them power, or they had a generator or something. So we ended up staying at her place. But we get home, and my hamster, I left him on my water bed. I pick him up, and he's in a little cage, and I tilt it, and he goes doo, 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 and rolls to the end. I'm like, I think he's frozen. So like I said, I had a water bed and it had a heater, which is why I put him on there. But the power went out, so the heater goes. House is frozen. Sorry, hamster. He was gone.
Wow.
And I kid you not, like a year ago, my sister comes and tells me, she goes, "Hey, I just read a story about hamsters that when they're cold, they ball up."
You said, yeah, it's true. You said, I think it's true.
Are you
telling me you buried the hamster
like
alive?
He may not have been dead. Right.
Oh my gosh.
He may not have been dead. I'm like, oh man, now I feel bad.
Oh my goodness, that is hilarious.
So I saw, wow, that is terrible. I saw a meme this week, okay, and it was kind of a funny meme, but it was true. It had a picture of a solar panel, a solar array, and it was covered in snow in Texas, and it said, "You're warm today." Well, it's partly true. It says, "You're warm today thanks to coal and oil." And I am all for, green power and stuff like that, but I know the wind turbines had to be taken offline because there was too much wind. The solar panels weren't working when it's covered in snow, but I also understand that, Texas has the ability to produce 100% of the power necessary to give everybody everything they want. The problem is that, they're into this deal with the federal government that there is so much green power and then so much, fossil and nuclear power. But if they want to turn on the rest of their power plants, they have to be given federal permission to do that, and they haven't been given the federal permission to do it because they exceed, the emissions that they've agreed to, or something along those lines. And I don't know how. Yeah. So
I hadn't seen or heard anything about that. That's it. The sad part is I've read stories of people who, like, because they don't have power, and we at my company, we got a number of employees that are out in Texas. So we heard, stories all week, trying to check in on those folks. But, folks who, because they didn't have power for, a day and a half, were sleeping in their cars because the heat worked in their car while it was running. They could recharge their cell phones, stuff like that. I mean, that's crazy. Now, I do remember, like, the last hurricane that came through, we were without power for a couple of days. I didn't ever sleep in my car, but I did get in it a few times for the air conditioning and to charge my cell phone.
Yeah, it sounds to me like it's a very much a similar situation to being prepared for a hurricane. It's just they didn't know. Like, I don't know if they knew the severity of this ice storm that was coming their way. I mean, they were talking about it for weeks on end. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. You need to winterize your home, this and that. But I don't know if people took it as serious, because of the power thing. Everyone kind of takes power.
Let's be honest. If somebody told you to winterize your home here in Florida, would you know I wouldn't even know what to do with my swimming pool.
Yeah.
I guess run the heater.
Turn the pump off. Well, if you can run the heater if there's power.
I'm going to go chop up some fire. I'm going to go get some fire. I have a fireplace. I'm going to get that ready. But I mean, beyond that, that's about all I can do. I have a generator, but I don't have a heater, so I'm not sure.
I'll tell you what. Watching some of the news and seeing some reports coming out of Texas this week, I have a portable generator, but I have thought more than once about getting a whole house one.
So be careful with the whole house one, because you remember it takes a lot of fuel to power that thing. So, I mean, what are you going to do if you need, say, 500 gallons of diesel to run your whole house generator for a week? Where are you going to store 500 gallons of diesel, and what do you do with that once it goes bad? It creates a lot of questions. By the way, when you said about people sleeping in their cars, man, that throws up a lot of alarms for me because of carbon monoxide poisoning. Yep. I did a quick look right here, and I said, man, I bet it's a problem. And it looks like over 450 carbon monoxide in 911 calls just in Texas since the beginning of this storm.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. I mean, you certainly don't want to sit in your car in the garage.
But you think about it, if it's snowing outside, that carbon monoxide, your tailpipe gets, backed in by snow, or it doesn't have to get clogged. All it's got to do is not be able to vent very well.
Right. Even in your driveway, if there's not enough ventilation, it could still affect you.
Yeah, I'd be really careful about letting people sleep in their cars, just to stay warm.
Especially if you're running the heater, which is going to recirculate the air inside. So once you start getting carbon monoxide inside, now you're just recirculating inside. And it can be very, very hazardous.
Man, it's saving lives right here.
Yeah, right. Saving lives right here on the Man Event.
What we do.
It is pretty scary to see what a lot of those folks have gone through in the past week. And it's like, it's weird. Because they go from extreme cold to, I think this week, like, they're up in the 45s or 60s.
Oh
wow. I haven't looked at that myself, but I've seen some memes and things like that on social media, and it's like, it's weird here. Like, we'll have, listen, Cliff, how many times have we gone to boot camp and it was 35, 38 degrees at boot camp, and by lunchtime it was 75?
Oh my gosh, It's ridiculous. That's maddening weather, Yeah. So.
Yeah, we had a day of that. I think 2 weeks ago, my wife's parents were here. There was a day where it started off in the 30s. It got to like 60 by 10 o'clock, and then it was in the 80s by lunchtime.
Yeah, that was one of the things I always use to measure that is, I know you guys all have them too, but you have the Nest thermostat, and you can look at your daily usage on the thermostat. It'll tell you how long the AC ran, how long the heat ran, and it's always weird to me when it's like AC, and heat, AC and heat, AC and heat, AC, heat. It's like, dude, make up your mind.
Yeah. Right.
So
yeah, I don't know what we would do if it happened here, because we're not ready for that. I heard stories about people, burning furniture in a fireplace. That's great. I don't have a fireplace. I don't know what we would do.
You do
can't
have a fire pit,
don't
though.
burn your furniture either, by the way, because a lot of furniture is made with synthetic materials,
Yes.
which emit hydrogen cyanide. Don't burn your furniture. That's wow.
Well, I mean,
That's
if
our
you're out
second
of
life-saving tip.
Yeah,
well, if you're
we're
out
in
of
my
fireplace wood, but if you're out of fireplace wood and it's that or death, I'm chopping up the bookcase. Now I'll choose a solid wood one if I can, but once we
how
have
about some
that,
of those books instead? How about we just burn the books that nobody reads anymore?
hey, Hitler, chill, bro.
B-Love's got a week's worth of fireplace books right there.
Bro.
Yeah, but I've read them. Most of them I've read.
To my right, I've got plenty we could use. Of course, these IKEA shelves are sitting on are made of cardboard too, so we just start with that.
Oh my gosh! Don't burn that stuff. Not in your house.
Yeah.
Good
Oh
night.
man.
Yeah. Well, listen. I mean, obviously, much part of that the country is devastated. This week. I mean, there's a lot of loss of life. There's a lot of loss of property. They've got a lot to recover from. In some parts of that state, it wasn't too long ago they got flooded by that hurricane in Houston. Like they're having a bit of a rough go at it, So any opportunity you can find to help those folks out, you certainly should, right? So kind of talking about some warmer climates. Cruise industry starting to sell cruises again. Now, this industry has been grounded since about late March, early April.
Mm-hmm.
I think we might have actually seen the last cruise ship pull out of the port of Tampa. Do you guys remember that when we went on the Man Event camping trip last year in March?
I do.
And we were on the boat headed to the island, and there was the cruise line ship.
Yep.
With nobody on it. With nobody on it.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, John's got a comment about his heat. He's going to turn his on. Let's say it's 34 weeks.
Wow.
That's unacceptable.
Oh, John, you're tough.
Dude, let me tell you right now, in my house, they say, no.
You're tougher than I.
But
you're right. We did see when we were heading out camping, we did see the Carnival cruise ships leaving because at that point they were just going to go to the middle of the Gulf and just chill.
Right.
They were just going to or no. They were going to New York.
Days.
They were going to New York to be hospital ships or hotel ships. That's where they were going. I remember that now.
Yeah,
I remember that now.
So, good idea or bad idea? I mean, I saw. Have you looked at these? I got an ad came today, and it was for a 5-night Caribbean cruise, and it was $219 a person.
Wow.
$219 a person for 5 nights. We're talking. You know how a cruise works. It's got all the food you can eat, and the entertainment stuff like that. So you pay for your excursions separately. But anyway, I think I could eat after 5 nights. I can eat $219 worth of food. Now I'm gonna ahead of the curve.
I could do that in one day.
Right, but I mean, yes. Wow.
You're telling
Let's be honest.
Yeah. It's a steak night.
That's a pretty good deal. I mean, I'm ready to cruise again. I'd go.
So the first thing I thought was that these cruise businesses, Carnival and Royal Caribbean, are going to go out of business. So I did a quick look on their stock prices. Actually, I was pretty surprised to see
they're pretty good shape.
Yeah, they lost about 50% of their value and holding. So probably I think that the cruise is gonna. Their industry will still be here, but I know people that booked a cruise and then it was canceled because of COVID, right? And then so what they're telling them though, they're calling these guys up and saying, "Hey man, we're going to rebook your cruise. Here's the deal though, you need to pay us another $100 because fuel surcharge, or they're coming up with these other ways to take some money from you." So I wonder, if the deal is really as good as it sounds.
Well, I think obviously, listen, if it was an advertisement, Chief, it was probably some sort of teaser rate. That was for, a room in the engine room,
Yeah, but even if you paid double that, $450, $500 a person for 5 nights is pretty good. A 5-night cruise would normally cost you probably $1,300 a piece for a nice room.
Yeah, I'm sure this is like an interior cabin room, but if this boat's going off, half full, they'll probably.
All right, so I have a couple of questions, and hopefully, Chief, you have done the research on this. You can answer these questions. So,
all right, let me
in
pull.
order for me to give you the be love answer, I have a couple questions. One, is the buffet open? Because the buffet in a lot of places
true
has been shut down because of COVID. So
yeah, the Golden Corral is not buffet style.
Specifically, the pizza buffet.
So is it a pizza? You mean the pizza buffet or the place where you go and order the pizza?
I want all buffets, but specifically, I like to eat pizza
right
after I've finished in the casino and before I go to bed.
That is very specific,
dude.
But you think I've never seen a pizza buffet, open that late. I don't know if I've ever seen a pizza buffet.
You're on the wrong cruise ship, then I guess.
I guess I don't go to the fancy one. I'm sorry, Where do you go to a pizza buffet on a cruise? I've gone to they have like the all night pizza bar, where you tell them, hey, I'd like to have a pepperoni or whatever you want on it. I think that's open, but I don't think there's going to be a buffet, where actually I take that back. I'd be willing to bet the buffet's open, but this does not tell me that the buffet's open or closed.
One of my favorite buffets on a cruise ship is the breakfast buffet.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I love the breakfast. I love breakfast as any meal, but the breakfast buffet is one of my favorites. So that's my first question. Is a buffet open? 2, are excursions going to be available? Or am I going to be stuck on that boat while it's in port somewhere?
For 5 days? Well, let's take a look here, man. See what we can find.
So while you're finding the answer to that question, my third question is, do I have to wear a mask on the boat the whole time?
I'm guessing yes. Unless you're eating.
Which I would be fine, in the common areas and things like that. But, I don't want to wear it sitting out by the pool.
Right. So the answer to your first question is yes, the excursions are open. The mask question, we're still working on that one. So
now what's interesting to me is the excursions being open. Now I know the Bahamas is requiring a negative COVID test 3 days prior or 5 days prior to visiting. And that goes for anybody, even a Bahamian. Like if you're coming back.
What about at that like their own little island that they have?
Castaway Cay or Stingray Cay or whatever they.
Yeah. So I feel like that one you can probably go to.
It could be what I guess where I was going with that is maybe the cruise line is going to require you to have a negative COVID test prior to travel and or the vaccine.
I think the vaccine is going to be the big one. I think these guys are going to start requiring that pretty soon.
Yeah. So maybe that's the answer.
And then I guess one of my other questions is what are they going to do about shows, right? Because a lot of times you go to these comedy shows or these, stage shows,
packed,
and they're elbow to
shoulder,
shoulder to shoulder in there. So what are you going to do about that? Those are some things that I would want to know.
Those are legit questions. I would also want to know what's your COVID plan. So someone gets COVID on the boat. Are we going to get stuck on this thing? Are we all going to be quarantined on the vessel together, until we get the all clear, which could be 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, depending on, how it takes for the virus to run its course.
Right.
So I guess my answer to this is I'm going to let some other people try it out first. And tell me how it works.
Yeah, but for $200?
I don't know, man. I don't know,
Yeah, there's not really good information here. They're not, matter of fact, under frequently asked questions, which I think you would have, there's
I'm just saying, on that. The man event goes on a cruise on the Chiefs boat. There's a buffet.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
There's refreshments.
There's a buffet. There's refreshments. There's a buffet.
There's a
there's excursions.
Yeah,
excursions. Yeah,
we can just do all of this stuff.
There's definitely a show too.
Yeah.
Nothing but entertainment.
There's a show.
Nothing but entertainment.
Yeah, which
interesting.
We're gonna have. We're working on a. I guess you could say a small vlog right now, and then we had some conversations before this show tonight about a Man Event camping trip, which would also be a vlog. So it'll be pretty funny, you know. So I'm hoping we're gonna catch like on video somebody, not me, like you know, hitting themselves with a hammer, or you know, maybe like, you know, like there needs to be a good injury.
Oh no!
Like Chief, like somebody falls off a ladder. No, it wouldn't be funny.
Oh gosh, no.
Dude.
No, none of
Dude,
those
your
things are
roof
funny.
is no joke, man. I mean, you need to replace that thing. It's like walking on marbles up there. The doggone gravels are coming down. I was like, what in the world is going on up here? He's got the worst ladder for getting on a roof, too. Not fire department approved, I can tell you right now.
Yes.
Wow.
By the way, Pooh Bear, I have some great video to send you.
I heard
Chief getting up and down this ladder onto my roof. Oh man, his colleagues are gonna love it.
Yeah. Hey, this will be a topic for off show, but you got to think about this: mixing in the camping trip with finishing your project. This is going to be a little difficult, but we can talk about that later.
The camping trip is going to get in the way of finishing the project. Yes,
right.
Yeah.
So you have to deal with your patio being in pieces for a little bit.
So anyways, we got to figure that out. All right. So, anything else on the cruise ships?
What's John got here?
I'll take the over on the Chief Clean.
You would win.
Oh,
That's
my
a
gosh.
true story. He's probably injured right now. He just hasn't told us.
I got boot camp tomorrow, so who knows what's going to happen, man.
Oh, are you actually showing up tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a 6 a.m. where I'll go. I'll be there.
Okay, all right.
I've already
good.
started the stretch. Let's go.
All right. So, in NFL news this week, Carson Wentz traded to the Indianapolis Colts. What are y'all's thoughts?
The Eagles are eating a lot of money.
Oh my gosh!
I think it was $45 million of the contract. They're going to just eat, just dead cap. They can't use that money to buy other to fund other players. Unbelievable. Yeah. I think it's great for the Colts. I think it's a change of scenery for Carson. Might just do him well. He's getting back with one of his old coaches, Frank Reich. He's had success with him before. I think they've got, Colts have a good running game going, and they still have T.Y. Hilton. I believe he's still under contract next year. I'm not sure. I just read their roster before the show started to see who the other receivers and tight ends were. Not a list of names any of us are going to really know unless you're just truly an AFC North fan. But the fact is, it's a solid team. They were a playoff team this year. Rivers retiring, just kind of a unfortunate thing. But if Wentz can get in there and get his mind right, this could be a dangerous team.
See, I'm going to disagree on that. I really don't think that – I think that Phillip Rivers was a way better quarterback than Carson Wentz. He is. He's a better quarterback. They are definitely taking a downgrade this year. This is a chance for Indy.
Chief, this guy was an MVP candidate just a few years ago. The reason they're eating all of this money was because he earned it.
He got benched last year for Jalen Hurts. He's not the future of the Eagles organization. He's not the future of the Colts organization. I guess they're getting him on sale, and for some reason that makes him okay. But I don't even know if he's going to be the starter there. I feel like this is Indy's chance, to go out there and kind of do what we want to do. Get a quarterback. And Carson can go there and kind of show him how it's done, and then maybe take over week 5, 6, somewhere around there.
Wow. Okay. So we talked about. First of all, what was the catalyst of the trade? Was it that he played like absolute dog poo after signing an extension, or was there another catalyst of the trade?
Yeah, that was it was his play, but also the fact they want to get Jalen Hurts going.
Yeah, they decided Jalen's their guy. They're going to move along with Carson, and whatever money they can save by someone else picking that up, they're going to do that. They're on the hook for him no matter what.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Indy needed a quarterback, and we've talked about Indianapolis as a destination for a couple of folks, right? Before the Lions traded Matthew Stafford, we thought that Indianapolis could be one of their trade partners. Even Deshaun Watson still wanting to get out of Texas. Nothing has happened there. Yeah. I think either way, Indianapolis was going to be in a pretty good shape quarterback wise. There's enough of them out there.
Agreed.
You know?
And what about for the Eagles other than the cost savings? John's chiming in again too, saying that they let go of Deshaun Jackson, which is true. He parted ways with the team. I don't know if he's still going to play or if he's just going to flat out retire. But Deshaun Jackson gone as well. So they're it sounds like the Eagles are doing something similar to what the Texans are doing. They're cleaning house. They got rid of the old regime. Coaches are gone. I don't know if their GM is still the same GM or not, but they're getting rid of some of the old players that have been drafted in the past 5 or 6 years. And like John just said, Deshaun Jackson. So who knows, man? This is not an Eagles fan. I love to see Eagles fans suffer, so it doesn't bother me one bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, it's crazy that division in football this year was horrible.
Oh,
that team went 4. I mean, if you were ever with superstar quarterbacks, whether it's Carson Wentz or whether it's Jalen Hurts, the fact that they could only win 4 games in that division is amazing.
With no hope on the horizon. Like, it's not like it was, the Giants are going to be good once they get Saquon Barkley back. No, they get Saquon Barkley back, they're still going to be terrible unless they have an awesome draft and an awesome free agent class.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys their best player is Zeke Elliott and quarterback, what's his name?
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott. I mean, they're not. Nobody else is clamoring to get them on their roster. The Washington football team is probably the one with the most promising upside.
Yep.
They had that quarterback that played against the Bucs that played pretty well. They just signed to a long-term deal. Sounds like they might be, at least going in the right direction. But the Giants are terrible. The Eagles are terrible. The Cowboys are awful. So who knows, man?
Yeah, interesting. And then we still haven't heard any news about where J.J. Watt's gonna land.
JJ just said I'm out. No news yet. You're right.
Yeah, it's interesting. By the way, Tom Brady made a tweet this week asking what he was going to do for the next 5 months. So I went ahead and extended an invite for him to be a guest on the Main Event show.
As you should. I mean,
so I just did that today. So I would be expecting to hear from his agent sometime in the next couple of days.
I would, definitely expect that.
Because I would imagine Tom would love. I mean, this is probably better than him ever being on Letterman or Leno or.
Have we discussed how good at Twitter Tom Brady is?
He is good at Twitter.
If it's not him, whoever is handling his social media account,
yes, whoever's handling his social media.
Because I'm not naive enough to think that he does it all himself, but I do believe he does some of it. And if whoever is in charge of it and getting his approval, that one with the avocado vodka tweet from last week after the parade was just epic. It was perfect, self-deprecating. Just admitting my mistake, not really a mistake, just admitting my condition and saying, hey, basically go suck it if you don't like it. I just loved it. It was just, and that's not the first time he's tweeted something creative like that.
Yeah.
Or the account has.
Interesting. So we'll let you know when Tom's going to be on the show. It'll be one you don't want to miss.
Yeah. May get a couple more subscribers from that.
Yeah. I think we could. So spring training started this week. Pitchers and catchers reported last week. The rest of the squad, I believe, at least for the Rays, reports by Tuesday of this week.
Yes.
In a couple of days. I mean, how excited are you guys about spring training? Just be honest.
I always get excited for spring training just because it's the start of the year for baseball. It's the fresh start. I get excited again because we go down to spring. We go to Port Charlotte to watch the Rays play. That's always a fun. We usually pick a weekend and go for a couple of games. That's always a highlight of my year. That trip. So I get excited for those things. I don't know if we're going to be doing that this year. I don't know if there's going to be fans. But, I'm excited to see what these new players have, especially the pitchers that, seem like they might be kind of being offered a lifeline or a second chance. Love to see that. The Rays are notorious for getting those types of stories going. So, I'm excited to see Randy Arozarena out there, see if he's got what he can do or what he did in the playoffs last year.
You wonder about Arozarena. Was it a flash in the pan type thing?
Right.
Was he legit? Yeah.
Right.
Or did he turn the corner? Yeah. I don't have. I have more questions than answers about this, about spring training. I don't know if we're going to be able to. I don't know. Look, we know we're only going to see a few teams this year. We know that. We don't know if we're going to be able to go. We don't know if we're going to have to wear the mask. It is an outdoor stadium. We don't. If we do get to go, do we got to wear the mask? Do we have to do? I don't know. I don't know. So I'm excited about it. Kind of. And I wish we had more answers than we do right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that, the season, like the first spring training game is a week from today for the Tampa Rays. And to my knowledge, they haven't even made a decision yet on whether they'll allow fans or not. They're a little bit late in the game for that. But I think, too, one of the things I look at, Chief, you brought up the regionalized schedule. We're going to play 28 games in 30 days. And I think 26 of those games are against the Braves, the Red Sox, and the Twins. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The games against the Red Sox are burner games. They're not going to roll any pitchers out on us, and we're not going to roll any pitchers out on them.
Right.
Because we're going to play them. They're in our division. We're going to play them a ton.
Well, it happens every year. Typically on those travel days, whoever the visiting team is,
split squad
sends either a split squad or sends the AAA team essentially. So that happens, by the way, every year.
I think it's garbage, by the way, that the defending American League champions begin the season on the road.
It's terrible.
Not just on the road, but a 6-game road trip. I mean, we're deep into the season before we get to see them at the Trop.
Yeah, before we get to raise that banner.
Right.
It's a full week and a day, I think.
Yeah.
So, speaking of baseball, do you guys see this kid out of FAU last night?
I didn't see it, but I did hear about it.
Heard about it, yeah.
So this kid from FAU, he's a true freshman. His name is Caleb Pendleton. He hit 2 grand slams in the first inning. One inning.
Wow.
His first 2 ever college at-bats were both grand slams. They played Central Florida last night.
You've got no place to go but down from there.
Not only that,
dude, his college career will never live up to that moment, right?
His glory days are behind him already.
He hasn't even played his second game yet, and the glory days are behind him.
Glory days are over, man.
That's insane. I read an article that said like his teammates were razzing him because he was visibly like nervous before the game started and stepping into the box for his first at bat. Like, I don't know if he had the shakes or what was going on, but they said the reports were he was visibly nervous, and then he goes in there and rakes 2 home runs, 2 grand slams in 1 inning.
Dude, UCS pitching staff must be – they were running win today.
I think FAU put up 15 or 16 runs on them in the first inning, or 12. It was double digits.
Wow.
Well, just think about it. In order to get to 2 grand slams, right? That's 8 runs already, right? So in order to get to that first grand slam, I'm assuming he was probably the 4th or 5th batter. More than likely, he was the 4th. So he brought in all 3, the first people who probably walked or either got base hits. Anyway, so you've thrown a lot of pitches at that point. Usually that's when you get yanked. You haven't gotten anybody out, and you gave up the booty. So now you've got to bat around. You've only got 2 outs to spare in there to get to this guy again. I mean, that's a lot of pitches, and there's probably a couple of pitching changes in there. Man,
I haven't looked at the box score, but you're right. It might be pretty interesting to take a look at that box score.
So more than likely, again, I haven't seen the box score either, but more than likely that was more than one pitcher in that inning. And to see, that many guys rattled, is a little surprising. But it's not unprecedented. It did happen in the major leagues way back in the last century, 1999. Fernando Tatis for the St. Louis Cardinals. It was last century. Hit 2 grand slams.
This is the older Tatis.
Senior, yes. Fernando Tatis Senior. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So he did it for the Cardinals when he was playing third base for them way back when.
Yeah, that team, by the way, San Diego ought to be fun to watch this year.
A lot of money spent.
Yep. They still have Will Myers.
They've got Manny Machado. Now they've got Fernando Tatis locked up for
Jr., Blake
14 years. 14 years. This guy hasn't even played a full season yet. And he already has a 14-year deal. Think about that for a minute.
Tatis?
Yeah. He's played part of 2019, and then 2020 was not a full season. So he has not even played 162 games yet. And he already has a 14-year deal. It's all guaranteed.
Wow.
Every penny is guaranteed. So he could completely just poop the bed from here on out.
Crap the bed, yeah.
And just get paid. I don't think he will.
Like Carson Wentz did.
Yeah, right.
Wow. I was going to say that they call that a Crawford. They call that a Crawford.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Carl Crawford?
Carl Crawford, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Carl Crawford, he's on the Hall of Fame ballot this year.
come on, man. That's
and he didn't get in along with everybody else.
All right.
Because nobody got in.
Kind of rounding out the our time together, gents. Anybody flying on United Airlines anytime soon?
me and you are.
We are?
Yeah, we got to go to Denver and then to Flagstaff is how we're supposed to go.
When is that trip again?
It's like June. I think it's in June.
Wow.
But
we're headed to Denver
Yes.
on United Airlines, and that flight originated from Denver. It was headed to Hawaii.
Yeah, full tank of gas. They were ready to go, and then next thing you know, the engine boom is on fire. That can't be good. Pieces of that thing are on the ground. Have you listened to the radio traffic that the pilot has when he's on there?
I was trying to. I got an alert saying to listen to it, but I started doing it and it didn't come up.
It's fantastic. This guy's on the radio, and it kind of goes like this. Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is United 213 heavy. Engine's on fire, and we're going to have to make a hard turn here to get back. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. That guy is cool, calm, and collected. He's like he just blew a tire or something. And then, and then the guy, by the way, this is the society we live in today, because there's the guy's got the window seat, and he's got his camera up. And he's filming it. Have you seen that? Dude, that thing is blowing. It is a full on, 3-alarm fire out there. And the pilot's like, yeah, we're gonna have to make a hard turn to get back, Denver. We got a bit of a problem here. I said, oh my goodness, man, that's a pilot there that you want in the seat.
Well, it's crazy because this is the type of thing you only see in movies.
Oh yeah, because usually, it's how's the Ron White skit go? He talks about, when the pilot always knows where the crash site is, even if it's in the middle of the forest, he can find it. It's and these things don't end well, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And in this case, nobody injured. All survived.
Not on the ground, not in the air.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, that's a miracle.
It is, but it sounds like it was safer to be on the plane than under the plane. There was
could you imagine just chunks of this plane falling out of the sky?
They're all over this little town in Colorado, and they're going through the roofs. And by the way, when you look at the engine, you look at the plane, I'm looking at the picture of one now, it doesn't look like it's that big. But there's this, big circle thing, and it's next to a house, and it's the size of the house. These engines are huge.
Yeah, I'd probably say they're 10 to 12 feet in diameter. 10 to 12 feet in diameter.
Yeah, that's the diameter. And the other thing is, the people on board, have you listened to any of their conversations? It's not like I love the movie Airplane, by the way. And then they go to crash positions and everybody's just piling on top of each other. You guys haven't seen Airplane? Nobody.
I have, but not.
Oh, you guys are killing me.
Shirley, stop calling me doctor. Yeah, I got the whole thing, but doctor.
But they go crash positions, and next thing you know, everybody's piling on each other in the airplane. Anyway, they said it was pretty quiet in the cab. Nobody was panicking, or not in the cab.
They were all praying.
Yeah, well, yeah,
it was quiet.
Well, those planes are designed to run off of just one engine. They could lose an engine.
Apparently.
Now, Now, once if it were to tear off and tear the wing or damage the wing, then I think you might have problems. But there's a lot of redundancy in airplanes. That's why they have two engines. I'm pretty certain that most of them can run with just the one. It may not be the easiest thing to do with maneuvering, things like that, but I think that's the way they're kind of built. They always have, 3 or 4 different, if that aileron behind that, if the engine were to damage the cable, the wire that pulls the aileron and moves it up and down, there's a redundant system. Like the other wing can do it and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of that built in already because they know that one little mess up could
stuff happens, right?
Kill hundreds of people.
I think they're very fortunate that didn't happen over the Pacific Ocean because that's where they were headed.
Yeah.
That's a 5-hour from coast to Honolulu. It's like 5 hours. So that's
and they were in Denver. They weren't even
right. That's what I'm saying. So to your point, though, if you got 2.5 hours over the Pacific there, you've got 2.5 hours either which way to anywhere.
All right. So I got a question for you. What's the worst scare you've ever had on a flight?
Nothing major.
Oh man.
A little bit of turbulence.
I had one. It was a number of years ago. I would go with 15 or more years ago, maybe even a little bit longer. But at the time, I was making regular trips from Tampa to Pensacola for work. And the plane going from Tampa to Pensacola was a propeller plane. We weren't flying jets. It was one of those like 13-seater, planes. And so I was flying out on a Sunday night. It was pretty significantly delayed because there were a lot of thunderstorms in the area, but they finally, load up the plane. And these planes, there's no stewardess. It's just a pilot and a co-pilot. Pilot comes in the middle of the airplane. He goes, "Hey, listen, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. It's going to be pretty bumpy getting out of Tampa. So buckle up. We're going to be in for a ride." I'm like, "Dude, I fly all the time. Little turbulence never hurt nobody. I'm not scared." This plane was dropping out of the sky. He was not lying about it was going to be. There's a guy sitting in front of me wearing a baseball cap. We dropped out of the sky so fast, his baseball cap hit the ceiling of the cap.
like a cartoon of Bugs Bunny or something.
And I am gripping the seat, sweating profusely, and confessing every sin I've ever had. I have never been more terrified on a plane in my life.
Wow.
And thankfully that was like really the only bad, that type of experience that I've ever had. But yeah, once we get out of Tampa, smooth flying. But man, getting out of Tampa, it was, it wasn't just like turbulence, it was drops, sudden drops. Crazy.
So nothing close to that.
So mine isn't so much of a malfunction, but the maneuver that the pilot did. So I was landing in Midway with our friend Paul and his wife Emily. So we were, it feels like we were going this direction. I know we were going like this direction, and the airport was over here. And it was as though the tower said, "Hey, if you can put this thing on the ground in the next 2 minutes, you can do it. Or you're going to have to stay up in circle for like the next hour." Because this plane is, where's the camera at? There we go. This plane is flying like this. And then the next minute it is sideways making the turn. And I'm on the aisle. I always sit on the aisle. And I look over, and Emily, who doesn't like to fly, is white-knuckled into the chair. And I'm telling you, we are absolutely, like something out of Top Gun. The plane is screaming. I mean, it is literally screaming. It is making all kinds of noise, which I have never heard on a plane before. And we are dropping hard. And I'm like, I wonder what is going on. And then the guy next to me is like, this guy must have been a Navy pilot, or something. And have you ever landed at Midway?
Yes.
Dude, you're coming down, and all you see are the buildings are getting really close.
Yes.
You're like, holy, and I'm like, I'm really not so sure that we're landing. I'm like, are we landing or are we crashing? I don't really know.
Or are we hitting a building? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, but I'm just kind of chuckling. I'm like, let's laugh it in, I guess, it's better than the alternative. And, Dude, he freaking flattened that thing out and stuck the landing. It was fantastic.
Nailed it.
Wow.
Nailed it. Yeah.
They were
Nice
high-fiving in the cockpit.
Not Emily. Not Emily, man. See, I don't know if we were going to get back. We were going to Denver. For some reason, I seem to go to Denver a lot. But anyway, we were flying into Denver, and I wasn't sure she was going to get back on that plane, on the next plane out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, what a week. Pretty crazy stories out there, eh?
Yeah. Not a lot of sports, though.
Not a lot of sports.
No.
I mean, it's kind of been a slow and, very anticlimactic after an amazing Super Bowl win by your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Lightning had a couple of games canceled this week because of the snowstorms in Texas, and then they got absolutely hammered last night.
Yeah, they've
Hurricanes.
lost 3 out of 4.
Yeah, on a bit of a slump.
Not going great right now, but
So
we'll see if they can turn it around.
I was prepared to talk about the Australian Open, but I feel like nobody cares.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not.
That's what
we were not prepared to talk about the Australian Open.
Why do we want to talk about
it?
Why do we want?
Brady, the American woman, came in second to Osaka, who is the girl from Japan.
You killed it, Chief. You killed it. You nailed it.
So
Wimbledon's going to be calling because they're going to want your color commentary.
I thought this was a soccer tournament.
No, tennis.
Oh my gosh.
I had no idea. I legitimately had no idea.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
well, gentlemen,
man.
I think we're out of time.
All right. Well,
Are you going to take us home?
if you have made it this far in the broadcast, congratulations. You have the stamina and willpower of a mountain goat. We are done. We would be back next week doing this again at 7:00 on Sunday night. If you did like what you see, go ahead and click that like button for us, and don't forget to subscribe. If you didn't like it, then hit that thumbs down button, but hit it down twice so that we really know that you didn't like it. All right. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Night.